Good evening and many thanks for joining us on this 12th day of September 2017, a day when we had the first sitting of the 12th Parliament. We'll give you details of that story and many others in our news highlights segment. And then later on, we will be talking about with some entrepreneurs, people who would rather work for 80 hours a week for themselves rather than 40 hours a week for somebody else. We'll be having that discussion later on, and we want you to participate by sending in your comments and questions. The question is, what is the right time to break out for budding entrepreneurs? What is the right time to break out for budding entrepreneurs? And the SMS line is 22162, beginning with the word news. Or you can also find us on Twitter at Y254 channel, and the hashtag is Y254 updates. My name is Christine Kiai, and welcome to the program. Now, today marks the first sitting of the 12th Parliament, where President Uhuru Kenyatta addressed a joint sitting of both houses after their swearing in 2 weeks ago. The address to Parliament, as required by the Article 132 of the Constitution, requires the President to lay down measures taken and progress made in the realization of national values. In his address today, President Kenyatta rather steered clear the government's agenda on the 12th Parliament, emphasizing to the new elected leaders their duty to the people. He further thanked the 11th Parliament for their outstanding work.
Honourable members, the 12th Parliament has been sworn into office at an important constitutional moment that requires all of us to uphold the supremacy of the Constitution and its institutions. This, however, does not mean always having it your way. As you well know, we still have to undertake a fresh presidential election following the verdict of the Supreme Court. Even though I strongly disagreed with that decision, I accepted it because of my respect for our Constitution and its institutions. I have previously demonstrated this fidelity to the best interest of the Kenyan people, as happened when I conceded the loss of an election in 2002. And you will also recall that I heeded the summons from a foreign court, even though I knew I was answering trumped-up charges. You, in turn, as honourable members of Parliament, must be steadfast in protecting our Constitution as the critical base for assuring our people sustained peace, security, and prosperity. In our current circumstances, the elections that we held on the 8th of August, the swearing in of governors, members of the Senate and National Assembly, as well as our county assemblies, the verdict of the Supreme Court, the call for fresh elections on the 17th of October. With all this in mind, my address to you this afternoon, it must be clear that the set term of a president is embedded until a new one is sworn in. All of these are part of our laid down constitutional processes. So therefore, honorable members and fellow Kenyans, no matter the political noises that are often loudest during elections, I want to assure every single Kenyan and the world that every arm of government is in place and operational.
Moving on, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was expected to hold a meeting today with NASA and Jubilee Party to discuss the way forward on the electoral process ahead of the presidential polls scheduled for 17th of October 2017. However, the meeting did not happen and is scheduled for a later date. Farmers in the country are now breathing a sigh of relief as they are hoping for better times ahead following the introduction of a new rice growing systems of rice intensification that cuts the amount of water used in paddy fields by 40%. For years, Kenyan farmers have been using the traditional flooding method, which is expensive and has condemned to low yields.
Several economists in Kenya are the latest group to relegate Kenya's growth projection from a 5.2% to 4.8%. The decision by the Supreme Court to annul the presidential election in which President Uhuru Kenyatta won could paralyze public investment for the year 2017, which also saw a long-lasting drought wreck most parts of the country. The growth outlook, which is largely based on the setback in agriculture, construction and tourism sectors and a decline in private sector credit growth to 2.1% in May from over 17% in December 2017. While highlighting these concerns, many banks across the country are slashing their growth projections to below 5%, stressing that the economic growth that has remained moderate. While highlighting these concerns, many banks across the country are slashing their growth projections to below 5%, stressing that the economic growth rate has remained moderate. According to the global rating agency Moody's, not challenging the outcome of the rerun in the presidential election would positively influence the authority of Kenya's political and policy-making institutions and the credibility of policy.
Just to remind you of our question tonight, what is the right time to break out for budding entrepreneurs? The SMS line is 22162, beginning with the word news. Our Twitter is at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y254updates. Do join us for that discussion later on. Now we move on to business news. Volkswagen, the world's biggest car maker, will offer an electric version of all its 300 models by 2030, becoming the latest manufacturer to move away from petrol and diesel. VW will double investment in zero-emission vehicles by 2,452 Kenyan shillings as it seeks to put diesel emission scandal behind it.
Plans to offer 80 new electric cars across the group by 2025. It comes as Mercedes-Benz also promised electric versions of all its cars. Mercedes chief Dieter Zetscher says the entire range will have electric or hybrid versions by 2022. VW is confident its diesel and petrol engines are now clean, but also says it could not drop combustion engines entirely yet because the infrastructure for electric vehicles was not in place.
All right, moving on. COMESA Secretary General Cindy Ongwenya has urged member states to fast-track harmonization of policies in the mining industry to make the sector more competitive and profitable. According to Ongwenya, the sector's potential can only be sustainably harnessed through establishment of governance structures and leveraging of the existence of multinational trade agreements.
Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa COMESA Secretary General Cindy Ongwenya has urged member states to fast-track harmonization of policies in the mining industry to make the sector more competitive and profitable. According to Ongwenya, the sector's potential can only be sustainably harnessed through establishment of governance, structures and leveraging on the existing multinational trade agreements.
We are here now in Johannesburg. Is because we have the second tripartite summit, which will then launch the negotiations for the establishment of the tripartite free trade area. These three regional economic communities, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, the Southern African Development Community and the East African Community, already they have achieved certain levels of integration. And all that the tripartite is doing is to build on that, then harmonize for the 26 countries.
Julie Owino reporting for Y254 Business News.
Apple's 10th anniversary iPhone launch is expected to be the biggest single upgrade the handset has made since its launch. A revamped design with an edge-to-edge display, facial recognition ID system, and advanced augmented reality features is expected. Several analysts have predicted the asking price for the top-end models will hit to new heights.
Earlier on, there have been quite a number of demos released in advance, which have looked impressive, increasing the interest of users and buyers. However, this time around, the new release of iPhone X raises expectations in whether users will be satisfied experiencing the action on their iPhones, or Apple will actually be compelled to release an accompanying headset. Julie Owino reporting for Y254 News.
Indeed, now we'll have our discussion. Our guests are already here, and the question once again is, what is the right time to break out for budding entrepreneurs? What is the right time to break up for budding entrepreneurs? Our SMS line is 22612, beginning with the word news, and you can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y254 updates.
Introducing DJ Fiesta.
Champion boy lete bwana Samata. Nimekoma nimekula mimea nilibugia mabajia zote kwenye sinia. Natana zede wembe kama mwerevu usinishangae. Hagada. Kama ni kuku tutachija ho. Kama ni nyama tutachoma ho. Kama ni supu tutakunywa ho.
Yes, God. I don't fear man. I was born here man. Ukitaka kufa na kununulia gun. Leo soda no beer man, we are done.
Y254. Imagine.
Watch them on a Java or a straight out of Kingston, Jamaica. Island vibe.
I tell you 1 time, 2 time, 3 times, you're gonna stay. The Island Vibes Show.
Thank you so much for joining us once again. With me in studio is obviously my panel, and we're going to be discussing the question that you've been seeing on your screen this evening. Now, with me tonight is two gentlemen and a lady going by the name Benta, who is a fashionista girl from BW Leather, and I have Alliwah from a theatre group company, and Rickson from Priority Home-Based Tuition. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine. Hi.
Great to have you right here in studio.
It's a pleasure.
I want us to first off start with you telling us exactly what you do.
Okay.
We can start with Alliwah.
Okay, my name is Alliwah, Alliwah David, but my stage name is Alliwah, the Palace Boy. I'm a musician, an actor, also a producer and the founder of a group called Theatrics Arts Ensemble that the likes of people like some celebrated artists, Jalano, Awinja, Sleepy David, many other guys came from this group. Yeah, so basically I'm an all-round artist. My business is around art.
Art.
Yeah.
Awesome. Benta, I'm always having you here and I like it. Yeah, so just tell our viewers a bit about what you do.
Okay, I am a founder of BW Leather. BW stands for Backward Leather, where we make leather bags, and we've diversified into canvas and also African material bags. We mostly use our hands. We don't use machines, but we're also diversifying into machine stitching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Rickson, we finish up with you.
I'm the co-founder for Priority Home-Based Tuition. This is an education organization in the forefront for personalizing learning for every student.
Okay.
We are driven by a belief that each and every student is uniquely brilliant in their own way. Why don't we make the learning to be tailored to fit the needs and abilities? We do this through private tuition and classes. We do homeschooling support. And then we have programs for special needs education. And for those people who love game and sport, we also have game and sport coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. So the first question I want to pose to you guys, because you know you have taken a risk, first of all, and you guys are so established in everything that you do. I've seen some of your work, at least I've seen Benta's work, and you're established. Really, what hinders budding entrepreneurs from taking that step?
From where I sit, of course, mine a bit different. She might be gaining right now the moment that they have banned pair bags and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But from my side, of course, art is different. It has a background whereby guys never believe that this is a career, but some of us believed strongly that this is what we want to do. This is what will introduce ourselves to people. So first of all, of course, talk about entrepreneur is all about risk. You must risk. You must have a goal at the end of the day that you want to achieve. So to your question that you're asking, what is the right time? The right time. Of course, at the end of the day, the right time is when you think is right. And that means that maybe you've acquired what you like. As an artist, you cannot just come. Of course, it's talent, but first of all, maybe you've sharpened your talent and you're sure that this is what you want to jump into. Because this, the whole thing is now, the moment you come to the point that now you're almost your own boss at the end of the day. So this, first of all, will come with the passion you have and a goal that you must set for you to achieve or to enjoy the business at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Rickson, what do you think hinders the young people from taking this step?
From my own experience, I think young people are somehow a little bit comfortable with the idea of having a salary. And for entrepreneurs, it's always a risk. And sometimes we could say there's always this X factor in every entrepreneur. I mean, these are people who are really born and they have this fun in taking risk. For them, they're kind of adrenaline junkies. But then you look at this, If we don't do this, if you're in a different sector, like me in education sector, if I don't do this right now, who else is gonna do it? So it's all about a risk, and I believe the right time is, there's never right time, just start it. Then everything will just be in place.
Yeah. Of course, business is very competitive.
Yes.
Benta, you can tell me, what is your competitive advantage and how do you handle competition?
My competitive advantage is that we hand-stitched. We hand-stitch actually. We most brands don't do that in Kenya, so I saw a problem because most people are like, do you hand-stitch bags are more, you know, durable and stuff like that because of the thread we use. It's very thick and strong. So like, okay, no, we don't, but you know, that's a problem, and I thought of creating a solution to it, and we just started hand stitching and we marketed ourselves and we grew on that. So our competitive advantage is that we hand stitch because so far we are the only ones doing that. Yeah.
So then what tips would you give budding entrepreneurs?
First of all, for you to start, you must be very passionate. Passion is one thing, and then motivation. You have to be motivated, and to have people around you that maybe also think in the same line at the end of the day. But I always believe that it starts with you. You are the best ever, and the moment you know you are the best, you want guys to see what you have.
Yes.
And so if we had gone bit from where we started, is that one of the risks most of us don't want is to say that most of the young people are very comfortable with where they are. Some of us think money is first, but I always believe it's just like the Bible, seek ye first. So to me, when you have it, the rest will just come in. So you have to build up, first of all, you have to build up what you have. If it's something like me, I must work with a team. So I have to believe in a team, bring guys who are like-minded to believe in what I want, motivate them as you motivate yourself, and be passionate about what you want. And so without that, lack of that, of course, will come to a stop.
Yes. What tips would you give young entrepreneurs?
It's a risk, and don't be scared. I know I quit my employment and I just ventured into entrepreneurship. So just take a risk, and be opportunist, you know.
And what about tips like once you're in it, because you've just started, you're a budding entrepreneur. How do you make it? I was actually speaking to him and I was asking him, siri ya biashara ni gani?
Hakuna siri.
Hakuna siri. Lakini kuna wengine wako na siri. Sometimes guys say kuna siri. Kila mtu ana siri hapa. Like you see what she's saying. She's saying
to tell our viewers.
Like what she's saying that I'll in a place whereby not many people are there. That is you're the siri. So you're the siri. You can't just do if everybody is maybe selling mangoes, you cannot maybe just start mango unless maybe the mangoes you have, there's something you'll put. So kuna siri. See, and to me the siri here is that it's all about what do you bring new? What do you bring new? Exactly. What will make somebody not go for the other item and go for yours? Okay, at the end of the day. And so that is the risk bit of it. But the whole thing is that the siri ni wewe, you have to bring something that is not in the market. Like everybody's acting. What is new about me? Like me, I do Vioja Makamani. I'm the prosecutor of Vioja Makamani. So what is the difference between where we were before and right now? Why should you watch Vioja Makamani right now? Believe that the guys we are there, and me, as a person also, what I bring on board matters a lot.
Great. And as we're still talking about, what will make people choose your product or your service different from, anyone else, I would like to know why would someone decide to bring students to your home-based tuition and not just...
I mean, just like the other time Jackma said, the future in entrepreneurship, the future in end sector is not all about the masses. It's all about pick an individual customer, like us, we pick an individual student, and how can we tailor our services to bring out, if you make your services to be unique in a way, that experience is what will keep the customer coming back. That experience is what will actually get you more clients. Referrals work more. So in each and every sector, it's not all about what can you do as a whole. It's all about what are you bringing new? Which is this unique experience are you bringing to your customers, to your clients?
And that is the headache at the moment.
Yeah. And you're always told there's nothing unique. It's how different you are, but you're never unique. I'm not the only person that hand stitches back. It's just that it's the first time it has happened.
And how do you point out and feel like this area has potential? Like you decided to do bags and all this jewelry and the leather stuff. How did you think that I should make this instead of kitenge? So how do you see opportunity? How do you spot
I want
potential?
to believe, first of all, it started with research. I want to believe it, all of us. Because before you do anything, you have a plan. I want to start maybe my TV station, something of sort. Yeah. And first of all, you have to go for research. You have an idea. And most of the time, you'll get that most of the entrepreneurs, they'll tell you that at one point, maybe I thought about something else and I left that thing to have another one. Because usually also you have to be ready for changes. You have to be ready for changes anytime. Things can change. And things can change anytime. Yeah.
And I mean, it's all about entrepreneur people are these idea people, but it's all about, you can have an idea, but then it takes really a lot of time from just concept to making it reality. It's all about, you do your research, okay? And entrepreneurship is all about, are you able to solve a problem? So if your product or service doesn't really solve a problem, then
so you have the inner drive and you're also a good listener.
You're a good listener.
You must be a good listener.
And you've got to be creative, I think.
Creative, of course.
And then there's this also idea of, working for long hours, just like you said.
Yes, that's how you said.
It's comfortable for us, those who've worked before. It's comfortable from 8 to 5, pretty okay. But then you're looking at this. Do you really want the whole of your whole life and you're working for someone, and yet you can still take a risk for a few years, and at the end of that, make something big or build something. It's a risk, okay, but at the end of it, risks will always pay back.
Because they always say there's a time that you have to go, and one day it will work for you.
Indeed. Just before we finish up our discussion, we went to the streets and we asked people a few questions about this entire topic, and let's have a look at that.
Today we went to the streets and we just want to find out what young people think about budding entrepreneurship. When is the right time, when is the right age, and when should they actually start? Let's listen in some of the views that they have for us.
Okay, my name is Kelvin, and I'm an entrepreneur. So basically what happens in business, you should not wait, as a youth, you should not wait the right time to start business. Because when you start business, there are some things that when you start business, there are some things that normally come along the way. So when you start doing business, you start small, but with the time, you'll get to know what you want, but by starting now.
So according to you, there's no best time, like there's no particular age to start business, any time is business time. So what normally happens when you start a business, it will link you up to another business. So there's no right time to start a business. The time is now to start the business. When is the right time?
I feel like students, those who are going to school, business entrepreneur is one who scans the environment, identify business opportunity, then mobilize the resources. I think when somebody has done that, and you mobilize the resources, now it is the right time for you, especially after planning yourself. But it's good at a young age, yes.
So basically at a young age, and when you have resources and you've planned everything well.
Yes.
So like there's no right age, just anytime you've planned resources is the correct time.
When there's an inspiration, anytime after planning yourself and you have the resources, definitely you can start.
Okay, and what do you think about these young people who just keep planning, strategizing, they put their plan down, they have everything written down, but they actually don't start?
When you sit, you'll never do anything. But when you start doing something, it's when something develops.
Okay.
Yeah, and you make more money from starting small. Yeah.
Okay, so there we have it from this young person. He says there's no specific time for starting a business. Any time is the right time. As long as you have your plan and everything set, you can start, right? Yeah. So back to you, Christine, in studio.
Thank you so much, Doreen Arange, for that report. So, guys, I think what you're saying, the young people out there, those guys are young, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
So they're agreeing with you and they're reasoning the same kind of way. So, entrepreneurs are also supposed to think on their feet, yeah? And, you know, grab opportunities and all that. So, I would like for each one of you to tell me, if you were to write a book about yourself, what would you name that book?
What I've named the book about my beat as an entrepreneur.
About yourself, yes.
Okay. I'll use just the word the start.
The start.
Yeah, and I'll pause there.
Benta. That's a good word.
Wow. I have a plan. I think, yeah.
That's interesting as well. Rickson?
I think I'll go a little bit out and say it's passion.
It's passion.
Passion. I mean,
He's very passionate.
Passion.
That's passion, by the way.
I'll
Yeah.
talk a bit on passion. Think about sectors which have really not been, people have not really got to do a lot in that. You can pick passion. It's all about passion. Develop that passion, keep your network straight and work harder. It's not all about the money.
Yeah.
Money will just come after the passion.
Yeah. Passion first.
Yeah, entrepreneurs, warning, don't go for the money.
When you want to start, get passion. And then
The money will come.
Everything else will
Yeah,
follow.
everything
Because
will
I
flow.
feel like also a lot of young people they're not that patient.
Yeah, because one of the things that will make you very disappointed is if the first mind you have is money.
Yeah.
Money is there. Money is a must. To me, it's a must. But money should not be the drive. It has to come and you enjoy it. Because the moment you just think that the first thing you'll have is first of all money, then you'll be very disappointed. And of course, a start has a lot of...
And you'll never have patience.
Yeah. You'll never be
Keep on
patient.
jumping from one thing to another.
So here you're doing what you love.
Yes,
Passion.
of course. Thank you so much, guys. You've shed a lot of light on that issue, and we thank you so much for coming. We hope we'll have you here another time.
Yes.
You're such an interesting crowd to be with. And I think we'll move on right to sports news, where Pedro Obiang and Andre Ayew scored to give West Ham United manager Salvan the perfect 49th birthday as Hammer beat Huddersfield 2-0 in the Premier League on Monday. Sure, we'll give you the images of that story much later on, but happy birthday to him, And thank you so much, guys, for watching. We've been talking a lot about budding entrepreneurs, and I hope you've gotten a little advice here and there and a little tips here and there on that issue. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Stay blessed. My name is Christine Kiai.
Y254